If every important deal in your company needs you on the call, you don't have a sales process, you have a personality dependency that's one vacation away from collapse. For years, that was me. Big opportunity, get George on the call. Key partnership, can George jump on a Zoom? Potential investor, let's wait until George is available. On the surface, it felt great. I was the rainmaker, the super duper important guy in my company, the guy who could always close the deal. But underneath, here's what was really going on. Revenue was permanently handcuffed to my calendar. My team didn't trust themselves, and my family, they had to compete with every one more important call. So if I wanted to go watch my son play ball, I'd be sitting in the parking lot doing just one more Zoom call while he was already on the field. And that's not leadership, that's ego dressed up as responsibility. Now the shift started when I asked a hard question. If I lost my voice for 90 days, how much of this revenue would disappear? Now, I didn't like the answer, so instead of trying to be the best closer in my company, I made it my job to build a sales team that could close without me. And here's what it looked like. 1, I got my process out of my head. I recorded the calls, I had them transcribed, and I turned my instincts into a simple framework. How can we qualify? How can we diagnose the real problem? How can we frame the offer? How can we handle the same 5 objections every single time? No more, George just does his thing. And then 2, I turned those calls into training assets. Instead of hiding my best calls like a trade secret, we broke them down with the team. Here's why I went here. Here's why I went quiet. Here's why I did this. The exact words when the price part hits. And then 3rd, I hired a rep and I flipped the script. At first, they shadowed me, but then I shadowed them and I let them run the call. And I only jumped in at the end if they truly needed help. Were they as good as me in the beginning? Of course not. But after a couple of weeks, they got better. The frameworks got sharper. The system got stronger. And then one day, something wild happened. They closed a big deal and I wasn't even on the Zoom. I was sitting in the bleachers actually watching my son play instead of sneakily looking at my phone. Now that's when it hit me. Real freedom isn't being the best closer. Real freedom is owning the system that keeps closing, whether you're on the call or not. Now, if you're a founder dad and every meaningful dollar still depends on you being on, you are one flu, one emergency, one burnout away from watching it all wobble down to the ground. You don't get extra points for being the hero closer. You just get extra distance from your family. So if you want help turning your personality-driven sales into a system that works so that you can keep growing the business and be present at home, that's exactly what I walk you through in my book, Buyback Time Formula. You can grab a copy at buybacktimeformula.com or DM me the word closer. I'll send you the details on how we can work together one-on-one to build a sales engine that doesn't fall apart when you step away.